So I'm going to tell you, as a guy interested in nutrition, basically I realized that everything I ever thought was wrong. It made me think of the movie Sleeper. In Sleeper, Woody Allen wakes up 200 years later, and the scientists mock him. They're like, "You didn't eat meat? Deep fried fat? Cream pies? But those are the healthiest things possible. What was he thinking?" And it's kind of like that. Like, we think we know nutrition, but if we knew it so well, why is everyone becoming obese? We don't really know what causes it. And we, at least the experts don't know what causes it, but we still, every single article you read about obesity always ends with a little snarky comment like, if only they ate less and exercised more, they wouldn't be so fat. But is that really true? So I think the best way to really understand it is to look at things where people actually become fat. So there's lots of overeating studies where people will eat like 6,000 to 8,000 calories. And basically they'll gain fat, as you'd expect. So it's not entirely wrong. But it's not entirely right. So a fascinating thing to look at is the monster ritual of Guru Walla, which literally means Guru of the Leisure Period, where they prove their superiority or like their success by eating 10,000 calories a day, which is a bit crazy, and they gain a punch as you'd expect. But if you see in that box right there, they gain a ton of weight and they lose it. Are they losing it by eating negative 8,000 calories? I don't think so. There's a natural reaction in your body that'll recover back to the mean. And people will accept that, but then they'll go to the next point, which is, oh, well, I gained weight because of genetics. Well, maybe you gain weight because of genetics, but populations is not explained by genetics. Do you think in the 1960s our genes changed? Did we become super mutants that become obese and have superpowers? I don't really think so. And also, people will be like, well, sedentary lifestyle. But here, socioeconomic classes. The lower you are, the more likely you are to be obese. Do you think someone who works 12 hours in a field really exercises less than you? I really don't think so, unless you're at the gym a lot. Also, obesity isn't new. It's only been in pockets before this, but like this is the Pima Indians in 1870 with droughts. Basically, they were given government rations of sugar, processed goods, etc., and in a single generation became obese. And now they talked about obesity constantly. But basically before that, they were a lean race. And in one generation, because of the diet, they changed. So why do we get fat? Well, I think one of the major reasons is we're just terrified of fat. Like, we're so obsessed with avoiding fat that we've added all these manufactured goods. Like, instead of eating meat, we're eating grains and stuff because we're terrified. We think the vegetarian diet is healthier. And maybe it is a little healthier, but it's not everything. And we've changed our oils from taking butters. We now take Crisco, and I can't believe it's not butter, which have partially hydrogenated fats, which everyone knows are trans fats. This is how bad it is. We're eating more fat than ever, but it's all these fake oils. As lard and fat goes down, we've added this. This is USDA. This isn't like I just made this graph up. So the other piece of it is chemicals, and I'm not going to talk about which chemicals do it, but there's a couple that could be it, whether it's leptin, orexin, or insulin, and something in our diets is creating a chemical imbalance. And the way it works is basically, the more you eat, the more you generate chemicals, which means you store more fat, which means that you don't get enough calories, which means you are hungrier, which means you have to eat more, which means you store more calories. You're creating this cycle where it's not so surprising we're becoming obese. As we take away more of natural foods, we end up in a situation where we're forced to eat whatever junk's available because we're terrified of eating normal food. And I just want to take this point. So here's a great graph that's absolutely terrible. All these diets suck in this. But my point is that Atkins and Ornish, which are like the opposite, and like the Ornish thing, they eat basically no fat, and the Atkins eat tons of fat. And yet they both are pretty equal in their weight loss. And I thought this was a fascinating way to end it. We're terrified of saturated fat, but this guy's eating a stick of butter a day with a 600 cholesterol meter, and his HDL, which is a good cholesterol, is increased with eating a stick of butter a day. At the same time, his LDL and triglycerides, which are the bad ones, has dropped off from eating a stick of butter a day, which is crazy. And the awesome thing is he wasn't even testing this. He was actually testing whether he would be better at math. Some fat is beautiful. Don't fear it. Eat what makes you happy, but figure out what works for you. Feel free to tweet at me with any questions, comments, etc. Thank you very much.